Yo, did she really say that?
No, I think she did.
Yo, what's good, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry Sistas review. This is season 4, episode 4, entitled The Night Game. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, you already know what it is and what it will always be. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if that's what you choose to do. And without further ado, we're going to get right into this thing. Sabrina and Calvin. You know what? I don't understand. I don't understand the reason, the why, the how. Tyler Perry continues to try to stuff this couple down our throats. For me, I've never liked Sabrina and Calvin. I think that they don't fit to me. For whatever reason, I have never believed these two characters to be a couple. I never saw like this passion they have for each other or anything like that. I actually like Gary and Andi more than I like Sabrina and Calvin. They are my least favorite couple on this show because they're not believable to me. They're just not believable. We'll get into that. So basically, you already know we pick up where we left off. And of course, the train wants to come. If y'all hear the train in the background, I'm sorry. I'm probably not going to edit this out because I'm starting late. And you know what I'm saying? I'm just letting y'all know you might hear this train, but it's okay. So we pick up where we left off. And Sabrina goes to touch Calvin. And he basically tells her, like, don't touch him. And to me, Calvin does what he does best. He's passing blame and passing responsibility onto Sabrina as if she literally just sat there and allowed, what is his name? Vio? Forgive me, because I know I probably jacked this brother name up. By allowing him to disrespect Calvin. And in my mind, I'm just like, well, dude, you have a mouth. You're the one who feels disrespected. You're the one who has placed this label upon Sabrina, which we find out later in the episode. She does not feel the same way. She does not wear a badge of girlfriend when it comes to her and Calvin. But that's neither here nor there. And so I don't like Calvin. I don't like Calvin. I cannot stand Calvin. To me, Calvin made a complete ass of himself. And then he comes up with this off the wall narrative that somehow Bio and Sabrina, he's coming back. That's what it is. He's coming back. I'm like, oh, nah, bro. Nah, bro, you don't get to do that. And then Sabrina was like, is that the kind of woman you think I am? And he was like, I don't know what kind of woman you are right now. Pause, because you don't even have to wonder what type of woman I am. I'm the type of woman that's not with you. That would have been my thing. Because I'm like, Sabrina, and this is the whole thing about all the women on the show. I'm like, y'all are doing the only people on this show who is actually in a relationship based on their verbiage is Fatima and Zach. So everybody else, I'm like, y'all you're doing too much, especially Sabrina. I'm like, you doing too much for a man who you don't even view in that space or who could possibly be the man in your life. But then it was confusing because I believe it was last week when Sabrina made the statement to Danny that, well, what if I married the man? What? It's like, what? You don't even like Calvin. I have stood on that for a long time. I was like, Sabrina don't like Calvin the way that he likes her. She just doesn't. And it's very evident and obvious to me. So I don't understand why they still together in some shape or form. It just doesn't make sense to me. So basically, Calvin, he's just in his feelings. He just need to deal with his insecurity. And to me, what that demonstrated was him trying to spin this narrative. That was his immaturity and insecurity coming out at the same time. And in my mind, I'm like, Sabrina, just leave him alone. Let him go. He was like, let's go. She was like, I don't want to go. You embarrassed me in front of all of these people. I wanted to talk to you in private. But basically, here we are. We out here, sir. Let's just finish it. Calvin wasn't with that. He didn't want to talk about it publicly. He didn't want to talk about it at all, to be honest. And so he was just ready to go. And Sabrina told him that, she would get a lift or whatever she stated. And, he left. He was like, yeah, you should get that. But before I finish, he brings up Jacoby. Oh, you just wanted to see if I could, take care of the situation like Jacoby, right? I said, how Jacoby? See, Calvin is one of those men who I would intentionally try my best to hurt their feelings. And if I have to do that to you, me and you need to take a break from communicating or just cease all communication at all, because he's one of those people who I would try my best to hurt them in a deep place. Because number one, you're projecting how you feel onto me, which is not fair. And two, you have too high of expectations of Sabrina when she's not your woman. And that's the one thing too I feel about all of these couples. Like you are assigning a certain standard in your situation that should not exist because this person is not committed to you. So that's basically what we saw with Sabrina and Calvin. And Sabrina just sat there like she was irritated. I said, girl, if you don't sit there and eat that food, because it look good, I'm gonna need you to sit down and eat your food and let Calvin go on by his business. So we get to Andi and Karen. So they're done with their joyriding. And Karen can tell that Andi was impressed with Gary's gesture of the rental singing cops, which I'm like, Andi, if that's all it took to put a smile on your face, baby, you're not a happy person. You feel me? Because, but this is Andi. This is Andi we're talking about. Now, Karen, my girl, but this is the side of Karen that's a complete turnoff for me. When it comes to the Andi and Gary situation, that is something that Karen has to understand, that say less needs to be how she maneuvers with that situation. Just say less, sis. You know why? Because Andi is going to do exactly what Andi wants to do, just like Karen will. She's going to do what she wants to do. Now, we all saw Karen make an ass out of herself with this whole Zach situation and everything that she was going through. We understand she's pregnant and all of that stuff like that. But it's like, it's just too soon, sis. It's too soon. When everyone has kind of seen where you have been and how you've been acting, they will find out later what has contributed to this as well. But it's like, you're not, no one on this show, not nan woman, is in a position to give romantic advice to anybody else. It's because Karen's in a pickle. You feel me? Karen's in a pickle. So I'm gonna need her to just fall back and sit down somewhere. But so then we get to Karen and Aaron. She calls him and she lets him know that she wants to talk. And so we find out that Aaron is playing basketball with a couple of guys, and he informed Karen that Gary was there because he knows that Karen does not like Gary. And that scene, the beginning of that scene was so funny to me, but I'll tell you about it when we get there. But she just basically lets him know, like, hey, wherever you are, drop a pin and I'm on my way. So you can tell just by her verbiage that there was a sense of urgency to get to where he was so that she could tell him whatever it is she needed to tell him. So Danny and El Fuego, let me just say, you know, being a sister fan, all right, Karen gets a lot of flack. You know, the girls, I love sisters as a collective, but they all get on my nerves, every last one of them. Danny, after watching this scene, I said, wow, sis, and you were the one that had the audacity to call somebody messy and miserable. I think this is the messy and miserable sister right now. So the moment that El Fuego comes in, Danny tells him to take off his clothes. He does. And then all of a sudden she's having a change of heart where she doesn't want to do this anymore. Now, rightfully so. Anyone has the right to change their mind regardless of wherever you are in the process of sex, whether it's in the beginning. Anytime you say no is no, and that's just what it is. I'm like, but why the hell you called him over there? And so he was like, you know what, like it's the white boy or whatever. And so she was just like, you know, somebody tell you to take off your clothes and you do it. And I'm like, see, this them games. Danny plays games. Danny is a ball of confusion who loves to play games. And for one, I'm just like, you know what? Danny would be one of those, like, if I was El Fuego, I don't care how bad he wanted it. I would have got my clothes and left. Because this is the kind of mess that can possibly be trouble for a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I said no, we did. Bruh, get your clothes, because there is too many willing women out here who will give it up to you that you ain't got to go back and forth with no damn Danny. Danny got on my nerves in this scene. Danny just, you know what I'm saying? She just really got on my nerves because I feel like her and Andi, you do this because you're upset with the person who you actually want to be with. And for whatever reason, you are in a position where you don't want to deal with yourself. And I do understand being in that place. But the thing I don't like is inviting someone else into your confusion, into your space of uncertainty. And the one thing I did like that El Fuego stated was, he was like, yeah, this is how I work. Like, I work. This is what I do. And so she was like, yeah, like, you want to be with those other women? And she was like, he stated, no, I want to be with you. We've already stated, and it has already been solidified, that El Fuego definitely likes Danny. Like, he likes Danny. And I think the messed up part is she doesn't like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't like him. Not like that. Not the way that we know that he's feeling her. So I'm just like, I have a real big issue when people play with people's feelings, or you're not into it like they are. And Danny, at this point, she just doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that whole Danny situation. She's a train wreck waiting to happen, or the train wreck could have already happened, and we're just looking at the debris. But regardless of not, I don't know what the hell that was. Then he's getting ready to go. She gets in the I was like, what the hell is this? She gets in the bed, and she starts taking off her clothes, and El Fuego gets the hint about what she wants to do. And I'm like, where was the foreplay? It was just nothing. It was just, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of situation. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't understand what the hell that scene was. It was just, I saw a lot of people on social media stating just how that they were really bored this episode. And the thing is, for me, I don't even think it was like a bad episode. I just think that a lot of people, myself included, because the way this show is written, it's just so slow. It's just so slow. And so, like, we have to, just like Karen said that she wanted to talk to the girls that night. I'm like, how many episodes we gonna have to wait until night comes again? We just saw 3.5 episodes where it was still day. We just got to another day. And this episode 4, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how long we have to wait? It's becoming an annoyance for the most part. But you know what I'm saying? You got to look at Sistas like, hey, you're going to get subpar writing, you're going to get subpar storylines, and it's just like, we just got to be okay with it. But yeah, Danny pissed me off. So, Sabrina and Bayo, which I think I'm jacking this man's name up. So Sabrina is just sitting there. I said, why the hell you sitting there like somebody done stole your damn bike? Fix your face, ma'am. Fix your face. So he comes in, and we find out that he owns the restaurant. Sabrina doesn't believe him because there are chains of this restaurant all over the world. So we know that, old dude is wealthy, not rich. He is wealthy. And so he kind of comes over in the sense of like, he wants to take Sabrina out. He wants to get to know her. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I was like, you know what? Okay. If this was the way to introduce a new love interest to Sabrina, Tyler, we could have did that a better way, sir. We could have did that a better way. But that's really all that scene was. He was like, if he made you feel bad, I'll kick his ass again. He was like, too soon. Sabrina was like, yes. But it was funny. It was funny. I think that I did get a lot of people, not a lot. Let me not say that. I didn't get a lot, but I did get some people who was like, they didn't understand my humor or my laughter when I laughed at Calvin, in the previous review that I did, when old dude just didn't even just have any inclination that he could possibly be Sabrina's date. And so for me, not the fact that I don't like Calvin, it was just the fact that as I was watching that particular scene, you could tell, for me, I will admit, and I did say this in my review, that he did not acknowledge Calvin at all. He really just went up there and started talking to Sabrina. He didn't say, excuse me, hi, my name is Bayo, you are. He didn't do any of that. He didn't acknowledge Calvin, which I thought that was highly disrespectful. I really did. The other part of it was, this guy really thought that Calvin was gay. He really did. So he didn't even think that there was a possibility that this was actually Sabrina's date. And then when Sabrina had the opportunity to introduce Calvin, that's all she did. She said, this is Calvin. So in my mind, she let it be known, whatever you're trying to do, there's a possibility it can happen because this is just Calvin. That's kind of how she did it, which it was funny to me. It could have came off as disrespectful, whatever the case may be, but I just found it funny. You know what I'm saying? I just found it funny. So let's get to Andi and Robin. I really have nothing to say with this. I as I was watching the show, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, they finna have phone sex. Gee, oh God. Literally about threw up in my mouth. I don't know what it is about Robin. But Robin, he just oozes repulsiveness. I don't know. Okay. I like Ray J as an entertainer. Like, I think he's hilarious. But every time I look at Ray J, to me, Ray J just oozes deceit. Every time I look at him, I'm like, he just look like he about to lie. Every time he open his mouth, he sounds like he's lying. And that's how I feel about Robin. Robin he comes off very like creepy and deceitful, and just he just gives me like creepish vibes. So when that was about to happen, and we found out from Andy that Gary was the person who called her, I was like, thank you. I have never been more happy for Gary to call Andy, even though she didn't take the call. I was so glad that happened, because I was like, we could just bypass this scene. But the thing that gets me though, and if y'all notice this too, when he realized that Andy was about to get off the phone, he was like, yeah, call him. So it's been a minute, but I'm trying to understand, if you are not committed to someone, what's the reason you're getting mad if you know that this person is entertaining someone else? So I didn't understand. Like, I'm like, okay, I heard that change of tone. You sound like you had a little attitude, Mr. Robin. Tweet, what's going on? I'm not sure why you had that little thing going on in your vocal cord with this tone that you had. But I called it. I called as if he had a problem with whatever Andy was going to do. But like I said, I ain't have much to say on that scene. I'm just glad it didn't last long. So Aaron and Karen. So Karen arrives at the basketball game, and this is why the beginning part of this scene was so funny. So Gary comes up to Aaron with this huge smile on his face when he sees Karen. He's like, oh yeah, what's up, Karen? As if everything was G between them, as if everything was copacetic, everything was cool. He had such a big smile on his face, as if Karen was like his favorite person. I'm like, dude, you know that ain't what it is. But it was just so funny because he was just so carefree with it. He didn't care. And I just found it to be incredibly hilarious. And so Karen was like, yeah, hey, hi. Yeah, you can leave now. And so I was wondering if Gary was waiting there to see if Karen was going to say anything about the car that he gave Andy, because Gary's smart. He knows that Karen knows. So I was like, okay, Gary. He's like, look, come on, let's speed it up. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Gary that happy-go-lucky the entire series. So that made it was incredibly funny to watch. And so basically, Karen was telling Aaron that she had something that she wanted to talk to him about, but she didn't want to say it, out there. She wanted for it to be in private. And so basically he was like, where you want to go? Want to go to your house? And she was like, no, because she already know the possibility of what could happen if they are alone at her house, in her room, in her bed. I totally get it. And so Zach ends up, I think the ball kind of like went over there or whatever. And so before that, Aaron basically told her like, okay, well, I'll follow you. So they end up going to the house, and he lets her know that he'll be strong for both of them. And she was like, you going to have to be hella strong, basically. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, I will. So that's when Zach appears in the frame. And, she was like, Zach. He was like, Karen. I said, Lord Jesus. Ooh. But so she turns her attention to Aaron, and she was like, you play with him? And he was like, no. Aaron was kind of like, I didn't even know that, you were here. And he was like, yeah, I know. Now let me pause. Because I had some very interesting dialogues going back and forth today, and even last night. So this is my thing. A lot of us, because personally, I do believe that Karen needs to apologize to Fatima for how she acted at their place of employment, because Fatima didn't deserve that. And I do believe there is absolutely no reason. I'm not saying Fatima and Karen should be friends, because that probably will never happen. But what I am saying is there should be some type of just where they could be associates just because they know some of the same people. And 9 times out of 10, they may be around each other. And I'm just like, there's just no reason for there to be any animosity, for there to be any kind of like slick tones when they talk. Now, I feel the same goes for Aaron and Zach. I've always wondered, I'm thinking to myself, why does Zach respond to Aaron the way that he does? Because if we keep it all the way a buck, Aaron has never done anything to Zach. He's never cursed him out. He's never initiated anything. The one time, well, they did have 2 altercations. The one altercation that they had was at Karen's house after his wife died, and he came over and him and Zach got into a little scuffle. Well, more than a scuffle. And then the second time was at the hotel when we remember Zach broke into, I said it like that because people like to have amnesia, as if Zach ain't never bothered Karen when she was trying to distance herself. But okay, that's a whole nother conversation. When Zach broke into the hotel room and then him and Aaron had that little scuffle right there. I just don't know as of now, why is there any type of like the way Zach, the little smart Alec mess he do. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, excuse me. So we get to, so once they leave, there's a scene with Zach and Gary. And basically, Zach asks Gary what he does, and Gary tells him that he's a hedge fund manager. And so Zach was kind of hyped to hear that because, he was like, I'm in stock and he needs some help or direction. And he didn't want to ask like these white people to help him. He wanted a brother preferably. So Gary was like, yeah, we go to my car, give you my card. And so Zach was, taken aback or shocked by Gary's car. And so Gary was like, your car ain't too bad either. He was like, yeah, it's all right, but it ain't like yours. And so a lot of people are like, no, why are you telling Zach? Why you telling Gary your business? He gonna do this. And I honestly, now don't get me wrong, there is trouble for Zach on the horizon. There's definitely trouble for Zach on the horizon. However, I don't believe that Gary is going to play the role in this situation that everybody believes he's going to play. But we just have to watch and see what happens. But we are going to see some dark clouds for Zach coming up here. So Zach, the next scene was Zach and Fatima. And I was like, you know what? I said, Lord, these people can't do nothing on this show, but people get talked about regardless. It don't matter who you are. So so this girl, when I say this, me and this girl or this young lady, like we talk like almost every week about this show. She is a die-hard, when I say die-hard, Fatima fan. It is crazy. But we have really great intellectual conversations. Like they're really good. And so she was like, See, Tyler need to make this more realistic because who go to bed with a whole beat on their face? Fatima had all that makeup on her pillow. I said, well, look, I'm going to say this. If I was Fatima and I got done lovely like she did on the couch and I told my man I'm going to bed. I ain't worried about no makeup. And I don't think Fatima was worried about no makeup either. So that's how I felt about that. Since so many people think I don't take up for Fatima. I felt Fatima all the way in that moment. And so when, her and Zach started talking or whatever, and she asked how the game was, and she told Zach, I trust you, I'm in all the way. And so he tells her that he had to pick up something from this girl house. But his tone, I could tell that it was like a joke. It wasn't nothing serious. But this is the thing, though, like, there are certain things you don't play with certain women with. And I'm like, Zach, you already know Fatima ain't wrapped too tight. That ain't what you want to play with. Because Fatima got pissed. She got hot. She put on her house coat. She got up, went to the bathroom. And then she saw the pictures that Zach put up on the mirror of her sleeping. Now, I could tell for some people that was a very romantic gesture. And I get it. I really do. But for me, I take pictures with my eyes open. Take pictures when we together. Take pictures. Don't take no pictures of me when I'm asleep. Maybe one, but not 15. Okay, that was too much. That was team too much. And so I did say that I was going to do a video, but I'm not going to do a video. I just talk about it now. So what I was going to do a video on was last week. I thought that Zach said something that was very important. And I think that the way that Tyler wrote it, he just completely like went over it like it didn't mean anything. So, and I thought it was important that Zach was the one who said it. And I don't think I mentioned it in my review last week, but it was important. Zach told Fatima basically, he was like, we got to do more than this, referring to sex. And I thought it wasn't important because there's always these, back and forth on social media about people saying, well, Zach and Fatima relationship ain't nothing, it's just sex. And then you started seeing even some Fatima fans who was making that same, argument. I'm not gonna say argument, but was making that same stance on, we want to see them do more. We want to see them go out on a date. We actually want to see them date. We want to see something more than just them having sex, ending sex, starting sex, in the middle of sex. We want to see some actual depth to this relationship. And I think it's important. But at the same time, even though Zach said it, we saw what we saw last night, after, Fatima, and, she was like, this is the most, I think she said, the most thoughtful, creepiest thing anyone has ever done for me, which I thought was a great description. But I'm like, yeah, even for myself, I'm not the biggest Fatima fan, because y'all know how I'm not the biggest Zach fan either. However, I like Fatima, and it's like I would like to see a full rounded relationship. They may do more of that on their spinoff, but I'm like, still, even for Sistas, it would be, for those who don't plan on watching the spinoff, it would be great to see truly a relationship building, and not just based on how somebody make you feel when you're in between their legs. So it's like I really would like to see more of a well-rounded relationship. But I did find it very it was, I think, needed that it was the man who made that statement and not the woman. So Aaron and Karen excuse me. So let me get this out the way, because you know what be pissing me off. I know people be watching this show. And I'm like, how the hell did you come up with that? Karen and Aaron did not have sex in Wednesday night's episode. If you actually listen to the first words that came out of his mouth, he was like, good morning. He was like, see, we didn't do nothing last night. I saw some nasty posts and comments about what Karen and Aaron did, what she let him do to the baby. I said, what? Where did y'all get this? They did not have sex. Oh my God. I know that, Tyler really doesn't promote it, but everybody don't have sex like that. Everybody ain't having sex like Fatima and Zach on this damn show. But, yeah, they did not have sex last night. And like many of you, I do wish that Karen would have told Aaron about the baby. And to be honest, after she laid everything out about the situation she's in, how her situation does have ties to Zach, I honestly believe that Aaron already knows. So when the truth does come out, I don't think he's going to be too shocked. However, I do hope that she tells him sooner than later. I do also understand how, we have a lot of people on the forums, and it's like, why haven't she told her friends? Why haven't she told Aaron? Why haven't she gone to the doctor? Why isn't she doing this? And I know people, hey, listen, we need to embrace this, okay? Karen is pregnant, period. And sadly, she's pregnant by Zach. And I know people don't want to embrace that. I know people don't want to hold that. Now, unless Tyler just pulls some miraculous time clock out his ass, there is no way this baby can be Aaron's. It's no way it can be Aaron's. It's Zach's child. And I know, my God, people don't want to believe that at all, but it is what it is. I think that when Karen kept saying, like, I'm processing this, and I think that because of how the show is filmed and because we have to wait, it feels like she's been pregnant for a whole 2 months, when in actuality, she only took the pregnancy test 2 days ago. But it just seems longer because, this is Tyler Perry land. This is Tyler Perry time frame. So a lot of people, are questioning the pregnancy because she hasn't done these things. And my thing is this. In real life, there are a lot of people, a lot of women who I know. One of my good friends who I've known for 17 years, she didn't tell me she was pregnant until she was in her second trimester. And I respected that because a lot of women end up losing children in their first trimester. You know what I'm saying? So, and, my heart goes out to any woman who has experienced that. But it's like, it's not far-fetched. It is not far-fetched that women don't have morning sickness, that are not throwing up. These are stereotypical, things that we expect, but it does not always affect every woman in the same way. Everyone's pregnancy is different. And the whole thing about the doctor, let's be clear, that's why I'm like, people don't listen. When Zach found out that Karen was pregnant and he went and told Fatima, that Karen had made an appointment for the following week. So whenever next week get the Sistas, which might be season 6, hell, we don't know. But whenever next week get here, excuse me, that's when sis is supposed to go to the doctor. I know it's hard, but that's just what it is. And so, but honestly, I wish Tyler would have. It was an emotional scene. It was touching, and I think that when Karen mentioned, there had been times that Aaron was gonna leave. And I think that's a fear. I don't want to say fear. I think she's scared of that. I think she's scared of, when I admit this, I don't know how he's going to take it. This might be, the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I do get that. And I think that does have part of the reason why she prolonged telling him. Because I understand the processing, but I do understand, for me, that Aaron has showed in multiple ways on several occasions that she can be vulnerable with him, to let him know exactly what's going on. He doesn't judge her. He's not going to make you feel bad. But I think it kind of ties into that statement that she made, like, you seem too good to be true. And I hate that Tyler continues to write that, because for me, Aaron doesn't come off as too good to be true. He comes off as a good man who has issues like everybody else. He will always be a recovering alcoholic. He got kids out there who he's raised, who he has given the custody to his ex-wife's mom. That has to play on your psyche too. So in no way, shape, or form do I view Aaron as someone who has it all together, who knows it all, who is just so sweet, who is without flaws. And I don't like that Tyler creates that image of this man, because then you have women who watch this stuff, and if they come across a good man, it's like, just like Karen, I'm waiting for you to flip. I'm waiting for the shoe to fall. I'm waiting for something to happen. It's like, what you waiting for? Why do you have to be waiting for anything? He's a person. He's flawed. He's going to make mistakes. He might do something to hurt you. It is what it is. It happens. So it's like, and there are some really great men out there, and I have been blessed in my life to come across some. And it's like, there are some men who are because I know somebody was like, they don't believe that any man can sleep in the same bed, not have sex with a woman. And I have a good friend, this is college, that we used to sleep in the same bed. We did not, it was not like that. We were friends. He would stay over. We would sleep in the same bed, and nothing happened. And I know y'all like, Alicia, I don't believe you. And you're right, because we did end up having sex, but it only happened twice. But no, our relationship was platonic, and we made a decision to cross that barrier, and we shouldn't have, but we did. But I'm just saying, I have been around a lot of great men, a lot of great thinkers, men who are more interested in stimulating a woman mentally than having a desire to know what they look like naked. You'll get to that point, but that's not the first thing. So I like Aaron's vibe. I do like that. I hope we continue to see more of it. And I just really just want this truth to come out. And I hope night comes, because on the following scene, we see Karen calling Andy, and she basically tells Andy that she bumped into all the guys playing basketball. And so Andy was like, oh, they all know each other like that. Because it was just very odd, especially I think for Zach to be thrown in there. But I don't know what group this was, but Zach got money now. So what I'm saying, his circle probably is vastly different. So that's how that scene was. It really wasn't nothing. So Danny and Sabrina. Well, before we get to that, Danny and El Fuego, he gets up. Baby, I don't know what the hell her and El Fuego did with a sexual encounter, but her little partition thing was knocked over, and I was like, okay, all right, whatever. So he leaves, and she's talking to Sabrina. Sabrina is telling her about what happened with Calvin. And Danny was like, well, maybe Calvin was trying to show you that he's a man, he's trying to be tough and all of that. So then Jacoby beat his ass and all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, Calvin didn't do that for Sabrina. Calvin did that because his own ego was bruised. First of all, why are we taking advice from Danny? Danny had sex, didn't look like she was into it, and we need to put Danny on mute. Danny, you don't give advice. Period. You don't give advice. So then, after she gets off the phone with Sabrina, she knocks on the door. You know what I want to start seeing on this show? This will make this show very realistic. When you knock on a black woman door and we have a peephole, we looking through that peephole. Okay? They just open doors. I'm like, this is some crazy mess. But it was a dude from the airport. Now, I'm not going to say nothing because I know who he really is, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. But first of all, why you just, barge into her house like that, regardless of who you are? And then, then it was like, oh, you got a gun. She pulled a knife on him or whatever. And that's how the episode went off. All in all, I did think it was a bad episode. I wasn't really entertained much. I did like Karen and Aaron scene simply because we haven't seen him. And I thought it was good for them to have that conversation. And I think it's always reassuring for a woman to know that your man, wherever he is in that situation with you, that he got you and that he's there. But like I said, I think Aaron already knows about it. The fear that Karen may have of losing him is understandable, but still, honesty needs to be at the forethought of anything she's trying to get into with him. Because I think he's always given her that. I think that's everything I made. Oh, Gary and Zach. So at the end, how could I forget that? So we finally see Gary at his job, and he gets a call from Zach. And basically, Zach wants to know what to do with this stock because, he's at 1.5 right now. He doesn't know if he should sell it, stay with it, whatever. So there was a guy named Jake in Gary's office who Gary asked if he would look over Zach's portfolio or what have you. And so Gary asked Zach, how did he know to buy that particular stock? Here goes Zach. I said, Zach, you sound like you lying. All them lies you told Karen back in the day, you can't come up with a lie that sound believable. I said, oh, Father, look at him. Look at him. Come on, Zach, you can lie. Come up with something real good. But he recovered somewhat. I was like, you don't fumble the ball when you headed to the end zone, Zach. You deliver it all the way. But anyway, that's how that's how the episode ended. And so I will do a review on the trailer. I'm not feeling what the direction they take in Preston's character, but we'll talk about that when I do the review for the trailer. I think I got everything. If I missed it, y'all, I'm already late today. This has been a day. But I thank you guys for listening. If I missed something, y'all can put it down in the comments. I'm sorry if I did. But until next time, y'all be safe out there, and I'm going to holler at y'all later. Bye.